What's cracking, ladies and gentlemen? 49 coming at you another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 2. We're loading into the losers bracket finals of Horsemen and Ruckus up against Blink Dota. This is game number 2. Horsemen and Ruckus, their career's on the line right now. If they lose this game, they will be eliminated from the ODL2, and Blink Dota will move into the grand finals to face off up against 5IP. And it looks like Blink Dota, this time they've got first pick, even though they're over in the die side once again, so it will be interesting to see what hero they decide to let slip through the first banning stage. They've already banned out UGTFO's Clockwork, and for good reason. Every single time he's been able to play that Clockwork, apart from the one game where King Killer threw, Horsemen and Ruckus are able to pull through for a win. So about 90% win rate over on Clockwork Goblin for UGTFO, with the 10% chance for when King Killer throws. That's a pretty good statistic going in favor of Horsemen and Ruckus. There's a pretty good reason why you want to ban that hero out. Clockwork Goblin works very well as an offlane hero, because if the support's ever left alone, if they're ever caught out of position by the Clockwork, that's a free kill for UGTFO. He does this every single game. Especially since Blink Dota, they love to run a very greedy 4-position support with Yoshi. If he's playing someone like Kasan King, he usually likes to sack and clear out camps in the jungle. And because he plays so greedy, it means that Bambi, he's left to hold the support position in order to ensure Flash doesn't die. And so that means they're effectively running 2+1, as opposed to a traditional tri-lane. The advantage, of course, is if you're running a Sankey, he can pop from time to time to gank to show his presence, but otherwise he's not going to be too effective, especially if you're able to ward off his camps or if you're able to kill him and disrupt his farm. And so Blink Dota, they're banning out Dumbledee's Faceless Void. Horsemen and Ruckus, they're unique in the sense that they're one of the only teams that like to run Faceless Void in the 1-position role. They don't like to run the offlane Faceless Void, and the rationale for it is since Dumbledee is so damn good with the hero, and since he is able to get these fantastic Chronospheres and find such an amazing amount of farm, Void still is an incredibly powerful hard carry. He's one of the unholy trinity. Him, the Spectre, and the Anti-Mage, they used to be considered the 3 hardest carries in Dota. Now with the Medusa in the pool, not quite as hard, especially since Medusa and Morphling can give them a run for their money. But Blink Dota, once again, first pick Doomring coming out from them. As Horsemen and Ruckus, Tinker is available, so they could be going for the Tinker pickup. Looks like they baited the Tinker out from Blink to see if they're going to go for it and pick it up on the die side. Not likely to do so, but so we could be seeing a Radiant side Tinker going to be played by King Killer. And if the game does go late enough, Tinker is the single most powerful late game hero in the game. He's the only hero that can immediately make a fight 4v5, and he's the only late game hero that can drag the game out to late game. And by immediately making a fight 4v5, I actually mean literally. In the space of a second, he can blow up a single target with the E-Blade Dagon combo, then he can blink out, constantly throw out the March, so it's so damn hard to breach high ground against a Tinker, unless you have a hero like a Clockwork Goblin who can hookshot and catch him out, a Storm Spirit who can zip in, but in that case, you have the risk of him running out of mana, or a hero like a Juggernaut who can use the healing ward. So we see UGTFO over in the Tidehunter. Tidehunter, the most powerful offlane hero in the current meta game, because he's so damn powerful at all stages of the game, and he's incredibly difficult to dislodge. So similar idea to the Clockwork. Clockwork's also very difficult to dislodge, but the advantage of the Tidehunter is, especially when you're against a soft tri-lane where they don't have enough killing power to deal with you, and when you're against a melee core, if the supports ever rotate, Tidehunter styles all over the Doombringer. He just throws out the Anchor Smash. Doombringer now can't CS because he's losing 60% of his base damage. Tidehunter can zone him out quite effectively, and if it's just 2 heroes, so if Yoshi's farming off in the jungle again, Tidehunter can actually play very aggressively, because they can't kill him. They don't have enough damage, they don't have enough lockdown, especially with the Kraken Shell, and so Tidehunter, if he's able to get enough Anchor Smash procs off, or if he gets an early point Gush, he can turn around and go for a solo kill. And so with Tidehunter, you always have to be wary of him, and the added benefit of the Tidehunter is even if for whatever reason you shut him down, he can always find his recovery farm. He can stack and clear out Ancients. That provides you a massive amount of farm that you could use to quickly pick up your Arcane Boots or your Blink Dagger. And we've got a Brewmaster pick up once again from Horsemen and Ruckus. It didn't quite work out for them the last time, especially considering there's a Doom in the field. So it could be a case of Vici Gaming up against Newbie where they go for the same lineup and keep running over and over into the meat grinder. Hopefully we'll go for game number 3. But it looks like this time the Brewmaster we could be seeing a safe lane Brewmaster played by Dumbledee. If they want to end the game very early, give Blink Dota a taste of their own deathball. It's Blink Dota in game number 1. They are able to execute a very powerful deathball strat. With the Visage able to get a very early gem up by taking all these early kills and taking all these towers. They are able to deprive them of vision, get their own wards up, starve them out. Once they got their core items and the next set of items on top of that, so the Aghanim Scepter, the Soul Cuirass, as well as the Shiva's Guard, then you group up and push, and at that point, there's nothing they could do. They don't have enough farm. The PA isn't going to be strong enough to be able to deal with 3 tanky cores, especially considering the fact that Yoshi was obscenely farmed as well, and Bambi was able to find a huge amount of farm by getting all these kills with the Soul Assumption over on the Visage. And so when the enemy team picks up a Visage, you have to punish the Visage by prioritizing him first, because he's the single squishy support hero in the game. Squishy in the Crystal Maiden, 10% magic resistance, 0 armor until he gets a few points in the Gravekeeper's Cloak. If you catch out the Visage, he's dead, so the Visage player, he's under a lot of stress, because if he's ever out of position, or if you've got heroes who can instantly close the distance, such as the Clockwork Goblin, or in this case, the Brewmaster could jump, clap, split, Visage becomes food. And so we're going to Tinkerbell now coming up from Blink Dodo. They really don't want to risk the game going late. Since Tinker and Brewmaster, that's a combo you really don't want to mess with. Brewmaster provides control, Tinker provides the damage. With the Storm Cyclone, you're guaranteed to get 2, maybe even 3 stacks of March in the machines. And when the March flies, you run the hell the other way. You cannot fight a March. Those tiny little robots, they don't contain candy, they contain explosive damage. You run the hell away from them. BKB doesn't do anything. March in the machines is actually, I consider it outright broken, because it's one of the few abilities in the game that does universal damage. The only other ability that does universal damage, actually, I think it might be the only one, since every other form of damage is composite, since you've got the axes coming up from Beastmaster, and you've got the Diabolic Edict, and that's reduced by both physical and magical. Tinker's March of the Machines, it's not really reduced by anything, it's just outright broken. So it makes it very difficult for you to push against him. King Killer does like to go for a much more balanced build. He goes for a very old school Tinker build. This is the TI1 to TI2 era build, where you go for 2 points of laser, 2 points of missile. So that gives you a well-rounded mix of offense and defense, and then you start opting for points of March. And so the rationale behind that is it gives you exceptional lane control. It gives you a huge amount of solo killing power. If you don't realize he's got the 2 points in the missile, and your training hits, he lasers you, and then suddenly throws out the missile, you're dead. With Tinker, it gives you that initial shock factor of being able to go for kills. It means you can rotate if you find a good rune. And since King Killer is a very active mid player, he doesn't really like sitting there and passively farming. The much more balanced build gives you that ability for you to be able to play aggressively if you find a good rune, but also still gives you a backup of having that March machine to be able to find your farm if for whatever reason you get shut down. And so it's a very balanced build. It has fallen out of favor in exchange for the 2 points in the laser, the max out March build, simply because that provides you a much more powerful late game. And Tinker's all about the late game. You want to get your Blink Dagger as well as your Boots of Travels online as quickly as possible, because at that point, unless they have specific heroes that can find you in the trees when you blink out, so for instance the Storm Spirit, he's usually the best counter because he's also invulnerable when he zips in, you're not going to be able to deal with the Tinker. And if you can't deal with the Tinker, he's going to be able to split push, he's going to be able to delay all your pushes because he's constantly throwing out the missiles, you're walking into March. And then if the game goes long enough that he's able to find his E-Blade and his Dagon, every single fight you walk into, support heroes just die instantly. And when your backline instantly gets destroyed by the Tinker, your front line falls apart as well, because they're completely dependent on the damage and control that Visage provides. So Visage, even though he's a support hero, he's the vast majority of the damage in the early stage of the game. The solo assumption is absolutely critical in order to ensure that Blink Dodo can go for these kills. And in game number 1, they were able to execute it very well. They had an extreme amount of execution potential. Since Yoshi with Blink Burrow Strike, catch him out, you've got the Blink Hoof Stomp Double Edge, and then immediate soul assumption. One hero dead, you start the fight like that. The Stampede to also provide the snare, and you can go in and run over the enemy team. So Skywrath Mage being picked up works very well against the Visage, because Visage has 10% magic resistance, and Skywrath Mage, he's all about the magic damage. The Ancient Seal on the Visage is absolutely ridiculous, because if the magic amplification goes below 0, unlike Dota 1, in Dota 1 it completely tapers off, and so it just becomes pure damage. In Dota 2, it amplifies, so similar to a negative armor. So if Visage gets hit by the Ancient Seal level 1, he's now taking, his magic resistance is now negative 20%, so it's the equivalent of if he had about negative 5 armor. So he's taking an obscene amount of extra damage from magic abilities. And so Skywrath Mage should be able to destroy the Visage, but at the same time, Visage can also kill the Skywrath Mage with the Soul Assumption. So it's all a matter of who gets to jump on who first. So they've banned out the Viper, which is also one of King Killer's favorite heroes. Viper works very well with the Tidehunter and with the Brewmaster, because he also provides you that additional lockdown, but of course, and he's also able to win you that mid lane. So we're going to Batrider pick up, so we're going to be seeing once again a safe lane Doombringer. Zeke going to be over in that Batrider, and Batrider, he's a hero that has tapered off. He used to be picked and banned 100% of the time at TI1, TI2, and TI3. He was a hero that you had to pick or ban because he was so damn powerful with what his kit could provide for you. Now, you don't see him as much. I think in TI4 the stat was about 70% of games he was picked and banned, simply because it's very easy to shut down the Batrider, and once Batrider is shut down, he can't recover that well. But immediately, Horsemen and Ruckus, they know to counter the Batrider, and that's the Abbadon. And the reason for this is the Nazgul doesn't give a damn about your sticky napalm stacks. He pops the shield, purges off all your stacks, and he runs at you. Because the way to beat a Batrider if you're 1v1 is you play more aggressively than he can. You out-anger his anger. And so if you're able to keep him low, he can't go on you. Because when he dives you, especially if he's diving you under tower, he's going to take a lot of shots. So Batrider relies on being out DPS you before you out DPS him. And then Ban, especially with the Photic Shield, makes it very difficult for Batrider to go on him. So that means the supports can constantly rotate. And this is what Horsemen and Ruckus are famous for. They're famous for ganking mid at 1 every single game. They haven't been doing it recently, and they have been losing games as a result. So I don't know, a correlation could be, doesn't necessarily equate causation, but King Killer, I hope you're listening. Start ganking mid for Christ's sake. Shut down the greed, because otherwise they're going to roll all over you with the deathball. So they banned out Zeke, Centaur Warner. And Centaur Warner, a fantastic counter, not only to the Tidehunter, but also to the Brewmaster. Because the Stampede makes it very difficult for you to get a perfect Ravage off, since Ravage actually moves fairly slowly if you're on the outer edges of it. And Brewmaster, he's entirely contingent on you being able to get that initial 2 stuns off. So he's reliant on being able to blink in, clap 2 heroes, immediately bullet toss 1, tab, and cyclone the other one. You have to do that as quickly as possible to be effective with the Brewmaster. The Stampede makes it very difficult, because suddenly everyone runs to the wind, everyone breaks apart in Delta Splits, and it's very difficult to prioritize targets. And Shadow Shaman being banned out, one of Yoshi's favorite support heroes, because he provides a huge amount of utility at all stages of the game. Shadow Shaman starting with boots, same to the Sand King, can set up ganks at level 1 with a 2.5 second shackle, so it ensures that you get a kill over in the offlane, or you can rotate mid. If you are able to find enough farm, get a very early Arcane Boots up on him. You can spam out Ether Shock to farm up to hard camp, so if you decide to keep stacking up, which is something that Blink Dota really like to do, it gives you that ability for your supports to find farm, and Shadow Shaman makes a huge amount of usage with farm. If he gets Arcane Boots into Blink Dagger, he can split push, he can start fights for you, he can play very defensively by hanging back in the fight, so that when Tidehunter or Brewmaster blink in, he's not going to be anywhere near their initiation range. Puck being banned out because it provides what Blink Dota currently lack in their lineup, which is the ability to be able to force people to stay together in a small area, so Lifestealer can keep hitting them. Lifestealer, he's a very simple hero in what he does. All he has to do is hit people. If he's hitting people, you're doing a job. If he's not hitting people, you might as well draft somebody else. Lifestealer, the whole point of the hero is to hit people and keep hitting them. It's very easy to cut a Lifestealer, even though he's got open wounds, and even though he's got the rage, against a Lifestealer, because he has no other way to lock people down outside of the open wounds, kiting the Lifestealer is incredibly effective, because he's entirely reliant on hitting people to keep himself alive in these fights and to be useful. And so Lifestealer, he's an insanely powerful semi-carry hero, because he gives you an incredibly powerful first 20 minutes for a carry hero. He has been significantly nerfed. His open wounds no longer has the absurd range that used to. Used to have 600 cast range. So the Lifestealer, similar to a Wraith King or a Chaos Knight, can set up ganks on his own. You just open with a target, your supports run in, and then you can start a fight like that. As opposed to the supports having to set it up for you. Now Lifestealer, you don't see him as often, because he's entirely dependent on snowballing. And if he doesn't snowball, if he's even farm with the Abbadon styles all over him. Even though Lifestealer does get that feast bonus damage against the Abbadon's got borrowed time, and there's a lot of uncontrolled AoE coming out from Blink Dota. They've got the Sticky Napalm, there's also Firefly coming out from Batrider, and they've got the Scorched Earth. So Abbadon, it doesn't seem like much, but considering the fact that these abilities that they're constantly going to be in the fray, Abbadon should be able to regen a fair amount of HP, since he can also intentionally lower his own HP using the Mist Coil. And so this is definitely a carry Abbadon coming up from Horsemen and Ruckus. Dumbled, they do like to run it, and they're going for the Ember Spirit. So King Killer and Dumbled, their signature heroes for the ODL2, the heroes they used last time to defeat Blink Dota in their scrim. This time they're pulling out all the stops, so they cannot afford to lose another game. Witch Doctor being banned out, and so we actually are going to be seeing what looks like a support position Tidehunter. Since we're going to be seeing what looks like a mid position Ember Spirit, an offlane Brewmaster, and a core position Abbadon. Abbadon also can potentially mid or offlane, but not really the most comfortable roles for him. But the biggest disadvantage of Horsemen and Ruckus' lineup is they done goofed. They picked up too many core heroes. Tidehunter, similar to a Warlock, you can play him as a 4, but you really need to play him as a 3. Tidehunter, if you play him as a 4, he doesn't really give you anything as support hero. The only thing he gives you at level 1 is the Gush. And Skywrath Mage, he already outclasses Tidehunter at level 1 with the Concussive Shot. Concussive Shot a lot more reliable, and it sets off for everybody else, because it's got 1600 range, you can't disjoint the Concussive Shot, and Skywrath Mage is a lot faster, a lot more mobile than the Tidehunter, and once he hits level 2, he out-DPSes the Tide. So Skywrath Mage, when you pick up a Skywrath Mage as a support hero, you pick up another support hero that provides a lockdown. So Skywrath Mage provides a damage with the Alpoof, the other support hero provides lockdown and control. And they pick up a Lich, because Blink Dota, they've got the Lich Visage tri-lane. They could actually even attempt to go for dual lanes, and have something like a Lifestealer Lich in the mid lane, or Lifestealer Doombringer, or a Lich Doombringer in the mid lane, have Visage and Lifestealer in the top lane, and then have Batrider over in the bot lane, because Lifestealer actually can be used as a counter pick against the Ember Spirit, because he hits incredibly hard, and we're going to be seeing a mid position Lifestealer. And since Lifestealer hits so damn hard, and since Ember Spirit's got 0 armor, Lifestealer should be able to actively and passively win the lane. So you can out-CS the Ember Spirit and shut down his farm, and you can also play very aggressively against him. Ember Spirit, before he hits level 6 and has that Remnant, he's going to get completely destroyed, because you open wounds, you run, he starts smacking him. And what's he going to do? He can't use any of his abilities to control you because you're raged, you're so mad you don't care about CC, and Ember Spirit, he's all about the CC. If he's getting hit, you're having a bad time. The whole point of the hero is to stay in the edges of a fight and constantly throw a Sleight of Fist. So that's why you pick up 2 other tanky cores. So you've got the Brewmaster as well as the Abbadon to run up and draw as much fire as possible, while Ember Spirit does his thing and starts throwing out Sleight of Fist in the background. So Ember Spirit running to the mid lane, going to be played by King Killer for Horsemen and Ruckus. Gats looks like he's actually going to be playing the Brewmaster. So we're going to be seeing Gats over in the off lane. Or unless they decide to clash try. Method Man going to be the 5 position Skywrath Mage. UGTFO going to be the 4 position Titan. Actually, he's starting with Boots first, so he could also be the off-laner. We actually might even be seeing something like a 4 position Brewmaster. I'm not too sure what unholy aberration that would be. I don't actually think it'd be all too effective, but Horsemen and Ruckus, they're going through something crazy. And Dumbled going to be on the 1 position Abbadon. Although in this case, he's actually the 2 position, as King Killer, as the Ember Spirit's going to be the true 1 position, since he's the one that deals the vast majority of damage. So it's similar to running a Shadow Fiend in the mid lane. He's going to be the one that's the true carry. but you run a secondary carry just in case, to be able to help tide you through the mid game in case if he falls down, so you've got a backup. Yoshi, you're going to be the 4 position Lich. Bambi, actually, since he's a Lich, he's going to be the 5 position, and Bambi's going to be the 4 position, but knowing how Yoshi plays, probably going to be playing like a 4 anyway. And Snow, he's going to be the 2 position Lifestealer, opting for open wounds at 1. Actually, we're going to be seeing Flash in the mid lane. So Doombringer in the mid lane up against the Ember Spirit. This is also something you can do. Doombringer is not too bad up against the Ember Spirit, not as good as the Lifestealer, because you don't really have that kill power, and because you've got such a terrible animation. Zeke caught up with the clap, he gets a dose of syphilis, they should be able to smack him down. King Killer, first blood going him, so this is what I'm talking about. You can't get 1, and when you can't get 1, your life go that much easier. Gat's already pinging out the camps. So this time they've learned their lesson. They're going to block off all of Yoshi's camps, shut down the recovery mechanic, which is them stacking up these neutral camps. There's a very aggressive wall being placed there, but it looks like it's actually being pinged out. So it could be... Oh, no, never mind. Looks like their own team is pinging that out. So it's a bit of an unconventional safety ward. It won't... I don't think that should block that camp, since if you placed it there, it would block the camp wall there. But I think this might be a bit too far away. But the rationale behind this is an unconventional safety ward. Traditional safety wards, you place it here, or you place it here if you don't want it to get warded out. But because you've placed it here, you also act as an active ward, so in case if you see supports rotating in, because they know that Dumbledore's going to be left alone for the meanwhile. And Abbadon, he can be left alone against his tri-lane because they don't have enough lockdown to control them. Since they actually don't have any hard CC at all, they're entirely dependent on snares to be able to go for the kill. There we go, Method Man's now rotating in. And the reason why Skywrath Mage is so damn popular is because he destroys every other support here if you catch him out. Dumbledore shields himself, Grave Shield does nothing. Shield immediately pops, so he's going to be playing very defensively. But they need the Abbadon to find a lot of farm. King Killer in the mid lane actually should be doing okay, because Ember Spirit's got a much better attack point than the Doombringer. Doombringer got 0.5, Ember's got 0.3. And so even though he has less damage, because his animation is a lot smoother, a lot more fluid, he should actually be able to out-deny our Flash. Since Doombringer's animation takes a lot of practice to be good with, he does have a huge base damage point advantage in his favor, so about 10 more base damage. But once the Flame Guard comes online, because he's a melee hero, every time he goes in to find farm, he's going to be eating the Flame Guard. The rationale with the Doombringer against the Ember is you say, oh, you pop your Flame Shield, I've got Scorched Earth, so it's going to keep me alive as well. And so it's difficult for the Ember Spirit to play aggressively and kill the Doombringer. But King Killer, he's an exceptionally good Ember Spirit player. He plays him incredibly aggressively, and he's usually able to win matchups that he shouldn't. So we'll see how this matchup goes. Zeke over in the safe lane. They need to find a lot of farm on the Bat Rider. This is the biggest drawback of the Bat Rider. It's similar to the Centaur Warrunner. If he doesn't get an early Blink Dagger, he becomes completely useless. You never want to use a reactive lasso. You want to use it very actively. Clap catches him, but it's only level 1 clap. And with the Sticky Napalm, Zeke can actually turn. The magic number of Sticky Napalm is 5. If you get above 4 stacks, they're all dead. If they don't have a way to purge it off, you can play very aggressively. You can use the Firefly to catch him out. But it looks like Horsemen Ruckus once again going with dual lanes. And I'm not really too sure if I agree with this time, because the advantage of the tri-lane is the fact that the supports can rotate. I guess in this case, they're not expecting the supports to rotate, because you've got Lich and Visage, who can't necessarily rotate too well. Yoshi actually scored with Concussive Shot. Grave Shield flies, but it's immediately purged off. Open wounds being used as well. Yoshi fleeing for his life. If there's a miscall available, Dumbledore could have gone for the kill there, but he always opts to skip the miscall, instead go for the Curse of Avernus. He ain't going to be healing anybody anytime soon. He needs that mana to do more damage. And so the Abbadon and the Skywrath Mage dual lane works well in the sense that you're not ever going to be able to kill them unless a Dumbledore misplays. Because they don't have any hard CC to immediately lock down the Abbadon. You can't go on Method Man, because he's going to be hanging back. He's going to be hanging as far away from the fight as possible, because all he has to do is just keep throwing out the Yellow Poops at them. So if they ever do dive on the Abbadon, if they ever do play too aggressively, you can make it a trade. And so if it's a trade and the dual lane be a tri-lane, the dual lane's winning. Because you're getting more experience, because you're not sharing it through as many heroes. The Lich does mitigate this somewhat, because you're getting a lot of macro advantage from the sacrifice, since you're depriving them of experience while giving it back to your own team. But the mid matchup's going to be the critical one, and Flash already actually being completely destroyed by King Killer in the mid lane. And King Killer, great recognition coming up from him. The reason why he's doing this is because you want the creep wave to be right here, so it's not in tower. Oh, never mind. It actually looks like he screwed up a bit. You want it to be just outside of tower range, because that means that the creep equilibrium isn't going to push forward. So the creep wave will be here a lot longer, so that means you have high ground. Against a melee hero, he can't do anything. Every time he runs up, he has no idea where you are. If you can be playing hyper aggressively forward, you know. If it's a ranged hero against a melee hero, the melee hero is completely screwed. So Flash doing the only thing he can do, taking out some frustration on Kin, just stabbing him instead. But with the Flame Guard, as well as the 3 points up in the Flame Guard, he actually played very aggressively. He does. He actually catches him on tower range. Flash with 0 armor, taking a lot of damage. He's going to be very careful. I don't think King Killer can go for a kill here, as Flash's boots as well as the Scorched Earth, and Scorched Earth is absolutely absurd in how much survivability it provides you with Brewmaster. Once again, Gat's giving Zeke a dose of the clap. No penicillin available yet. I don't think Dota 2 has penicillin. So Zeke takes the fall, and Dumbledore doesn't have all too much CS. He's actually been quite handily zoned out by the support duo. So both the Visage as well as the Lich able to do a fair amount of work. It looks like Yoshi's going to go bodyguard the rune, but the rune's actually in the top lane, so not actually able to accomplish too much with that. And this ward, while it wasn't dewarded, because they're not up against a tri-lane, because none of their heroes are jungling, actually isn't really accomplishing too much. So they actually would have been better off if he went for a block off here, if he went for a block by placing it there or there, or if he actually placed a lot more aggressively by placing there, or even here, since it's a tri-lane against a dual lane, so if you have vision of when supports are rotating in, and since it's a dual lane, you can play a lot more aggressively, but against the Abbadon, you always have to respect the power of the Aphotic Shield. There's a very early stick up on Dumble since he knows that Yoshi's always going to be using spells. He's constantly going to be hitting him in the face with the Frost Blast, he's constantly going to be sacrificing, and so he's going to just giving him free mana. And on an Abbadon, if you could get that extra shield off, that could mean the difference between a kill or not a kill. Can kill it. Now he's got level 6, Doombringer. He's waiting till he hits level 6 so he can go for a kill on Kin. But if he's actually caught out of position, or if he's not able to get the Doom off, since Kin can just place a defensive remnant, and immediately we see Bambi actually rotating to the top lane. So they're going to provide Zeki some support, because Zeki, he's been zoned out quite handily. He's having a bit of a rough start. He has found some CS, so he's still got more farm than Dumble D. But the bat really, he's a much more timing-specific hero than the Abbadon. Abbadon, even if he doesn't get too much farm, is still very powerful in the mid-game, because he's able to counteract the lasso coming out from Zeki. Before the Skyhawk combo comes in for the Bat Rider, so before he gets the Blink as well as the Force Staff, so you lasso someone and you Force Staff them out, so the rest of your team can initiate. It's very easy to disrupt the lasso, because all you have to do is shield whatever target he goes on. Aphotic Shield is an incredibly powerful counter-initiation. If your retarded team friend eats an arrow to the face, it's a 5-second arrow, you shield it, and suddenly Miranda doesn't look so flash hot. If the Beastmaster yells at one of your teammates, you just shield him, and it purges it off. The Aphotic Shield provides you such a massive amount of turnaround potential that it makes it very difficult for Blink to be initiated successfully. Flash, taking a huge amount of damage, so the Doombringer in the mid pickup, while he's not necessarily gonna die to the Ember Spirit anytime soon, still isn't actually doing too well. So they would have had a much better lane if they had Doom go to the bot lane and send Snow into the mid lanes to the Ember Spirit. Against the Ember Spirit. So the Lifestealer, this wouldn't be happening if it was a Lifestealer, because Lifestealer pops raid and he starts hitting you, and he hits a lot harder than you do, because all of your damage in the early stage of the game is coming from your Flame Guard, as well as your Searing Chain. Looks like a haste rune's being picked up by Kid's got 3 points on the chain, so it's 240 magic damage. So if he catches out Bambi, Bambi is completely dead. There's no chance of him being able to turn around. He can't even do any damage with the Soul Assumption. So Zeki, he's going to be the one that's going to prioritize, because he's still an important target. Bambi's going to stand his ground, tries to do as much damage as possible. Catches out, gets to the Grave Shield, but he can actually dive this. Bambi's going to be taking a fall if he's not too careful. He's got the Searing Chain's going to cool down 1 more second, chooses to dive this, no support's TPing in. Kin decides, hey, maybe I shouldn't throw, he throws out the Remnant, and meanwhile the bottom lane. A bad Double D actually gets a kill over Lifestealer. He still decides to go for this. Jats now comes in. Bambi caught into a rock in a hard place. He gets a dose of Syphilis, and he gets caught up in chains. So Bondage and Syphilis is not a good day for Bambi. But while that's happening, Flash finally is found in the mid lane. He's going for the mech rush, because he knows that that's all his hero has to do if they want to win the mid game. Especially since they're playing so far from behind. Horsemen and Ruckus doing what they do best, winning their lanes very aggressively with these ganks and with these rotations. And with that, the 1,500 gold lead, the experience lead 2,000, this is against a Lich. So Lich is usually able to provide you that experience lead, because he gives you the macro advantage to the sacrifice. But now, because his camps were warded off, and because they don't actually have any heroes to capitalize with the camps, they no longer have the usual comeback recovery mechanic, which is stacking up the neutral camps and clearing him out. And because Flash has had a pretty difficult mid lane, he hasn't died, so he's got that going for him. But it's because but while he hasn't died, he's still getting severely outlasted. And since Kim was able to find 2 kills on him in the top lane, he's just going for a straight up Battlefield Rush. Usually you see Drums of Endurance first, because Ember Spirit needs a huge amount of mana and HP to be effective, so Drums is a great efficiency pickup, because it gives you everything you need. But in the bot lane, with Snow taking a fall as well, Blink, they're losing all 3 of their lanes quite decisively. And so even though he has the CS advantage, Abbadon, once he has Borrowed Time, he could YOLO in, especially with Method Man about to hit level 6. So the Mystic Flare combination, in conjunction with the Concussive Shot, is absolutely absurd. You probably won't be able to kill the Lifestealers as they could Rage, but he sure as hell could kill Yoshi. And without Yoshi there, Snow has to be playing very defensively. Since Lifestealer, he's not a hero, you don't pick up a Lifestealer and say, hey, let's go to the late game. You pick up a Lifestealer and say, if we don't win the mid game, we're bones. Because you need a 1 item advantage to be effective. Similar to the Viper, similar to a Chaos Knight, you have to maintain item lead. If you have item parity, or if you're behind, he offers you absolutely nothing. Because, I mean, at least the Chaos Knight, or the Wraith King, or even the Sven, they provide you a stun, and they provide you some kind of utility and pushing power. Lifestealer, all he really provides you is the snare. He right-clicks very hard, but he needs to be survivable, tanky enough to be able to run up and actually hit them, and he needs to be able to kill them within the open wounds, or be able to deal enough damage to force them back, to be able to set up a kill. Kim, playing very aggressively in the mid lane, and supports are rotating. UGTFO, I've actually been seeing too much of him. Catching out the Searing Chains. Concussive Shot flies as well. Gosh, the Gypsy Fish spits him in the face. GTFO, Anchor smashes them. Owlpoop flies as well as the Ancient Seal. One more record, they actually don't have it. They back off in time. Not too sure what they were doing there. They should have continued to persist for that. Method Man actively taking false Soul Assumption, and Snow is just dragging him down with the open wounds as well as the face with advantage. The King catches out 2! So they don't get flash, they're going to get 2 in exchange. Bambi fleeing for his life. Where's your 10% magic resistance now? Gatsy should be able to smack him down 1 more right click. Actually, animation cancelled it, so as he gets fogged. But Kingkiller gets it instead, and that's his Perseverance up. That's a 9-minute Perseverance on an Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit, one of the best late game carries in the game, because if he eventually reaches a point where he has enough damage that he could either kill your supports or bring them to low enough HP with one Slate of Fist, you've lost. Because all he has to do is hang back, wait for you to initiate, and throw out these Slate of Fists. So as long as he doesn't get caught, and Kingkiller, very good with the Ember Spirit, he's got very quick reflexes, he always places remnants defensively, because he knows that if he gets caught out of position, he will lose the game for his team. He cannot afford to get caught out. And if he is able to deal this damage, once he reaches critical mass, where he's got the Battle Fury as well as a Daedalus, and maybe something like a Desolate if he really wants to go for it, well, just a Battle Fury and Daedalus, every time he throws out a Slate of Fist, Visage and Lich, they're going to be at risk of dying. Even the Lifestealer, since Snow, the only armor item he's going to be building in the early stage of the game is an Armlet, and that's if he chooses to go for Armlet. Armlet has fallen out of grace for an item on the Lifestealer. Still is a very good pickup. It's just you no longer can do that crazy what Dota plays. Well, you still can if your timing's good enough, but because it's not an instant HP Swift, since it gives you 475 HP when you activate it, since it gives you 25 strength, it's the reason why you pick up on strength heroes. It is the most cost-efficient gold for damage item in the game for a strength hero. Otherwise, you go for a Maelstrom. But Maelstrom has kind of replaced the Armlet, because Maelstrom provides you a lot more aggressive capability, and you can upgrade the Maelstrom. That's the biggest drawback of the Armlet, is it's a dead-end item. It does provide you a huge amount of mid-game impetus, but if you're not able to capitalize with that, and since they're playing so far from behind, the Armlet might not be the greatest pickup. But that being said, if he doesn't go for an Armlet, the low armor means that Kin should be the style all over him. Gats caught up in the last, so they actually should be able to bring him down. Ravage flies up for UGTFO. His body out his teammate. The Chain Frost flies out to bring him down. UGTFO, he does kill Zeke before he takes a fall, so at least they're able to make a trade. And Blink, they actually forced 3 rotations. Dumbledore, he's having a good time right now, because in the bottom lane, he's left completely alone. He went for Tranquil Boots as efficiency pickup. Tranquil Boots, it's very good, even on the carry Abbadon, because if you're spamming up the miscall, it keeps your HP up. It means that you're not going to have to use your borrow time unless you absolutely need to. And also with your Curse of Avernus, you still have incredible movement speed. You got 425, which is comparable to the movement speed you'd have with Phase. So it's not the end of the world going for Tranquil Boots on the Abbadon. You would prefer Phase Boots, but not the worst pickup in the world for him, especially since he got the Orb of Venom to cancel out to give him a lot more chasing power. Since if you went for Phase, you usually don't want to go Phase and Orb of Venom. You want to go build towards another item, so maybe something could drum some endurance. But the advantage of going for the Tranquil Boots is you can leave him alone, and he can just continue to farm, continue to place pressure. And he's got that maxed out shield, he'll be maxing out the Curse of Avernus, and Abbadon hurts like hell with that curse. It's just because he's able to get so many shots in on you, that even though he's a melee hero, he's got excellent time on target, and that's a critical factor for when you play a melee hero. It's the reason why Wraith King, they're forced to go Blink Dagger. It's because otherwise they've got absolutely awful time on target. It's the reason why I hate Sven as a one-position farmer, is because he's got no way to really go the closer distance, he's got no way to run people down, unless he goes for Mask of Madness, but even then, he's so squishy that he needs a BKB as well to be able to survive. And Kingkiller, that double damage on Zeke, he's going to be incredibly careful. He almost has a Blink Dagger. He wants it so badly. Kin holding on to his strength chance until he's out of range with the creeps. Good recognition coming up for him, they clean him up. UGTFO just stalls all over and runs up, and Dumbledore gets that tower last hit as well. Unfortunately, never mind. He actually whiffed it, so the Radiant creeps, the bit jelly of his gain, so he decided to take that from him. Flash, he's got Doom available, he has to Doom right now. But even if he Dooms him, UGTFO and Dumbledore have to bring him down. He's coming in, now supports are rotating in. The Swastika seal over on Yoshi to prevent him from doing anything. He doesn't have the Chain Frost available. Dumbledore, he's got borrowed time. He can YOLO into their entire team if he wants to. Kingkiller fleeing the Doom now being thrown over on him, and has to follow Shield to keep him alive for as long as possible. Dumbledore's actually body blocking him, unfortunately UGTFO, he doesn't have ramps, they are able to kill Kin and end his spree, so good rotations coming up from Blink. Method Man throws out concussive shot, latest concussive shot of my life, maybe could have reacted a little bit faster to try to save his carry, but he at least forces 3 support rotations. So Gats, on the top lane, he goes for Phase as well, really disliking this trend of Phase, especially since he opted for a point in Drunken Haze. You don't have enough mana to use all your abilities, and your abilities are so damn powerful. Please go for Arcane Boots, the Phase gives you nothing. Learn from Ghoulie. Phase over on the Brewmaster, really not a good pickup compared to the Arcane Boots. 9 out of 10 times Arcane Boots is better. Maybe if you're just straight up thugging on them, and you don't even need a blink for a little while, then the Phase Boots advantage could be enough if you're able to get it very early on and make a lot of kills happen with it. But even then, Arcane Boots, the ability to spam out your clap, even to farm, means that you're gonna have your core items up a lot faster. He is throwing out the Drunken Haze to harass outside, but the drawback to this, he no longer has enough mana for his combo. If he blinks, he can clap, and then he doesn't have to split. And you have to be able to clap, then split to be able to set up your combo, because it's the majority of your damage when you go in. The reason why Brewmaster is so damn powerful is because of clap, and how overpowered clap is. Yoshi, Dumbledore's just straight up diving on them, so there's no Doom available. Doom does hard counter the Abbadon, so disables borrowed time, Mystic Flare cleans him up! Support v support, and Method Man cleans him up with the Mystic Flare. He gets a fair amount of gold from that, he's almost got his Honor Shadows. Method Man, he always likes to pick up a casual Sage's Mask. Doesn't like to save for the arcane boots. I don't know why he does this. Like, on the Skywrath Mage, it's actually not too bad because Skywrath Mage is such high int. But on other support heroes, you usually want to hold on to your gold for a little bit longer. Even picking up 2 gauntlets of strength, usually going to be the better pickup because you're not going to really benefit from the mana regen. You can simply just mana manage a lot better and just save that gold and try to go for an arcane boots. Because if you pick up arcane boots, a lot of utility for your team. Use DFO, he's actually level 8. What I thought was a 4-position Tidehunter. So he's actually about 2 levels behind the Brewmaster. So this 4-position Tidehunter was doing a lot of work. 500 EXP lead in favor of Horsemen and Ruckus. That's because they've been grouping up a lot. But 3,000 gold lead. And once King Killer picks up his Battle Fury, he's going to be having it in about 800 gold. That's going to be very difficult for Blink to be able to take these fights. Especially if they start to fight 5v5, which is what Blink Dota's lineup is designed to do. The deathball isn't going to hit enough momentum. Zeke does catch out King Killer, trying to pull him back for the rest of the team. Yoshi's there as well. He's got the Chain Frost to commit in case he remnants up. And Z, the King Killer, he just remnants out. Throws out another remnant as well. Runs up, then zips on out of there. And Kin, he always places a remnant defensively to ensure that doesn't happen. Zeke runs in, he blinks himself, revealing the blink dagger, throws in the flame break, but now he's out of mana to be able to do anything. Rabbit flies, catches out 4! And if there's any supports rotating in, they can actually turn this. Chain Frost flies out. It should be the bring down UTFO. King Killer, he nopes out there. He doesn't want any part of that. He throws out another remnant, so he's able to continue to kite out Snow. And Gats, he's got split, actually, never mind, he actually used split earlier from the look of it. And he doesn't have any mana at all. So once again, Phase boots on the Brewmaster, please don't do this. It makes you weaker during the part during the first 20 minutes when you're meant to be the strongest. If you don't have mana for clap, you're not playing the Brewmaster correctly because the clap does so much damn damage, especially when you've got King Killer as well as the Abbadon to be able to capitalize off that. Casual concussive shot coming up from Method Man, you usually want to hold on to it. You never throw out a concussive shot just to do some chip damage. It's not worth it. You have to be very careful because Zeke with the Firefly, you can't hide from him. You can't hide from Bat. You can't hide from Heaven as well. Firefly, it gives you so much damage and utility. The only thing it can't do is get renewed for a second season. Dumblebee runs in, he's got the borrowed time, so he doesn't give it to him, but he has to be careful. If Doom was up, if you Doom him, Doom will go through borrowed time. King Killer playing very aggressively, he's got the Slater Fist and Chain combination, but looks like the Slater Fist is actually on cooldown. Yoshi looks like he's actually caught out in their jungle, he just TP's on out there. Snow running for his life, looks like he's going for Arm Limit again after the drums. Dumblebee, double damage rune up on him. The Nazgul doesn't give a damn. Looks like he's going for the Vladimir's offering. Very good pickup on the Abbadon. Because even with just the Vlads, he does a lot of damage. Because Abbadon, with the cost of advance, because he gets so many hits in, and because the Vladimir's offering is a great efficiency pickup for the rest of your team as well, providing that +5 armor, as well as the lifesteal and the damage aura. When you've got a quad melee lineup, the Vladimir's offering does a huge amount of work, especially this early on, up against Blink. Since Blink, their lineup isn't going to do that well in the late stages of the game. They're really dependent on winning the early game. And even though Snow has about 27 more CS than the Ember Spirit, in terms of net worth, because Kin's gotten so many kills, because they've gotten so many towers, he's ahead. So they've got the 2 tower lead, they've only lost 1 in the exchange, and Kin, they're doing what Ember Spirit does best. Like a Morphling, he's able to constantly split push, because if you try to gank him, so long as he's placed a Remnant defensively, he just zips out to the Remnant. Remnant's got 0 cast point. The only other ability you have at 0 cast point that can catch him out is the Blink Doom. But even then, the Blink animation and the Blink sound, if Kin's quick enough with his fingers, which he is, he should be able to zip on out. And bottom lane, looks like Dumblebee going over and so they won't be able to kill him in time. I don't think of enough damage, never mind. Gats, no crit, no needed. No crits, no mercy, still able to bring him down. Looks like he crits a creep instead. And that's going to be the Vladimir's offering up 3 hero support rotation, actually 4 hero support rotation with the familiars. So Method Man and King Killer. Method Man's going to get the hell out of there. Kin, he doesn't give a damn. He's got a Remnant. He can zip on out. And looks like the smoke is going to break. Actually, they're able to catch him out with the Blink Lasso. He does catch him out with the Doom as well. And Kin, so much hatred up on him. He's going to be taking a fall. Method Man as well tries to TP out in front of them and takes the. He could have just run or at least tried to juke into the trees, make it a little bit difficult. But I suppose you can't really flee against a Bat Raider. And so he did the best he could. And Gats, while that's happening, split push going to the bottom lane. There's nothing he can do. He can't really fight his 5 right now. So the only thing they can do is split push. Since Blink Dota, if the game goes late, they do have the superior initiation with the Bat Raider, but there's also superior counter initiation. So Zeke, no sky hooks for you. He's going straight for the BKB, so that means that Dumblebee, he should be able to shield off the lasso if he's able to react fast enough. And so drums of endurance as well as Vlad's. The advantage of the Abbadon's core position hero is he's not going to die. It's damn near impossible to kill Abbadon when he's got borrowed time up, especially when he has the experience lead and the gold lead as well. So in terms of experience, in terms of gold, sorry, we've got about 3,000 gold lead. Experience about 1,500. Gats goes very far in. He actually didn't clap. He didn't have enough mana to be able to use both. He splits, they run away. This is why you clap before you split. If they've got blinks, they just blink out. And every time you waste a split, you give Blink a 2-minute window. You have to win a fight or be able to take kills every time you have a split. Because Brewmaster's a hero with an expiration date. Past the 35-minute mark, he's going to taper off very quickly. And so you have to be able to try to win the game during then. But the advantage of the Brewmaster is he's so damn powerful in the first 20 minutes that you should be able to win these fights, especially once a Blink Dagger's online. So once again, boils down to the fact that he went for phase boots as opposed to the arcane boots. It seems like a very small detail, But it's often a little detail like this that could change the course of a game. Because he hasn't had enough mana to use the Blink Clap initiation, he hasn't been dealing enough damage in the fight. That means they're able to get away. Snow just pops his rage, starts going over on Ken, forces him to zip out. UGTFO is actually left all on his own. Grave Chill, looks like actually Grave Chill a creep. Bambi, please. I know that creep is tasty, but UGTFO is a little bit tastier. Dumbledore runs on in to back up his buddy. He's got Vladimir's offering up, so they can man fight if he really wants to. Vlad's gives you a lot for the Abbadon, because a lifesteal, it doesn't seem like much, but when you're heading as fast as you are, actually looks like a lasso initiation. Overall gas to prevent the split. He doesn't have split anyway, so they do waste it to bring him down. Actually, 5-man ravage over, and then it catches out the entire team. Chainflow flies out, chipping it, brings out UGTFO. Mystic Flare over on Bambi. Bambi getting styled on by the Skywrath Mage. Is barely keeping himself alive. King Killer, one more slide of fish to bring him down. There you go. They do kill up the act like Dumbledore's still alive. He's got the borrowed time as well. He's just straight up standing his ground, man fighting, doing now over on Ken. They have to kill Katana. They can out DPS Snow before he can bring down Ken. The Familiar should be able to bring him down, but Dumbledore just smacking people left, right, and center. There's like a lightning bolt coming up from the Harpy, doing his work. Dumbledore's still got borrowed time. He can still kill their entire team right now. The last skill doesn't give it that. Arcane Bolt flying out on Snow, not going to kill us, he's raged up, but Dumbledore's more than happy to man fight Snow. He's going to get killed now. He can't run away from him. Actually, Bird Drop's coming from Dumbledore, doing a lot of work. Method Man, Concussive Shot is available. It's going to hit Flash instead. Flash going for body blocks, but Dumbledore can still dive this. No HP, no mana, no mercy. And Dumbledore brings him down, ending his spree as well. Actually, Skywrath Mage got that, so Method Man, he's got a fair amount of gold. They can turn on Bambi. Bambi, what are you doing? He's got borrowed time. He's going to heal a fair amount of HP. They have a turn around the Soul Assumption, but Dumbledore, he's just able to straight up kill him. And Yoshi, nothing he can do. Doom actually buys back. He has to go for a kill to recover from this. That wasn't Doom, so he could use that to try to go for a kill attempt. Never mind, they don't even have Doom. You're going to rely on the damage coming out. But Gas comes in, no clap needed. He's gone for it straight for the split. As Snow was raged, he turns around. Should actually be bringing down with Dumbledore there. Borrowed time's coming up, cooldown 30 more seconds. If the fight keeps going the way it is, they're going to win this. I don't know what the hell Blink are doing. Method Man, they finally should be able to bring him down. But Dumbledore, he's just doing work in the background. He's just hitting people. There's nothing they can do. Now with the lasso, they can finally try to bring him down. Gats is there. Where's the clap? He actually claps nothing. Wasted Haze. He has the UGTFO joins the fray. He's going to back up his body. Then at the Anchor Slash, I think he claps Flash on that. Throws out the Gush as well. Drunken Haze is up on him. They're trying to use the UGTFO, but Dumbledore, borrow time's off cooldown 5 seconds. They don't, I don't think Blink knows this. He runs back in, he zones them out. This is what, out of core position, the band does best. He runs at you, and there's nothing he can do. You don't have any hard CC. You don't have any snares that can stop him because he just shields himself and gets rid of the snares. He moves faster than you with the drums and with the Tranquil Boots. And the carrier Abbadon single-handedly turning that fight. While all that was happening, King Killer died, respawned, and found up his Battle Fury. He's now going to be able to take your tier 1, unless they're able to immediately TP respond. There you go, Snow's coming in, but he's got an armlet 22 minutes in against the Battle Fury on Ember Spirit. I don't know about you, but my money's on Kin. The lifesteal is a hero that's entirely dependent on winning the early game. He's one of the most powerful early game carries because he does so much damn damage and because he's got a built-in snare and he just run up and just right-click people down. He hits like an absolute monster truck. Him and Faceless Void have the best level 1 stats in the game. Faceless Void's better because he's got more armor and because he's also got the better attack point. But Lifestealer, he's 1 4 for 4. The Lifestealer pickup isn't accomplishing anything. I assume they picked it up to counter the Ember Spirit mid, but they sent the Doombringer mid. Doombringer would have done much better in that tri-lane. I guess he doesn't give you as much kill power, but the Ember Spirit would actually would have been completely shut down by the Lifestealer, but since they weren't able to shut him down, if you don't shut down the Ember Spirit, he's going to wreck your entire team. It's the exact same story as the Naga Star, it's the exact same story as a Tinker. He's one of those high priority targets that you have to keep down the entire game. Otherwise, if you don't, he will single-handedly win the game. Because like a Tinker, Ember Spirit's a late-game carry that can drag the game out to late game. Not as well as Tinker, because there are ways to counteract him when he slates. If you have a Disruptor, you just drop the Static Storm where the Remnant's going to be dropping. Snow, caught out position, Mystic Flare, he actually jukes it, but doesn't even need it. Gats comes in, cleans him up. Core puts in a rock in a hard place. And Dumbledore, he just dies! If Flash is forced to doom the Abbadon, then King Killer, he sings praises to the Gizzard, the Rizzer, and the King Killer. He kills your entire team. If you doom the Abbadon, you're going to lose a fight, but you might be forced to. And if you don't doom the Abbadon, he's just going to run up and hit you. He's got 3.3k, he's actually probably going to be going for a Radiance. This is something that Dumbledore loves to do, especially with the amount of farm he's had. Because if Abbadon picks up a Radiance, there's nothing Blink can do. They don't have any hard CC. This is the biggest weakness of a lot of Blink's lineups, is they don't like drafting hard CC on their supports. They like to draft supports like the Visage, they like to go for greedy supports and the AA, which are very powerful supports if you have setup, but they don't have setup. I guess they're assuming the Grave Chill and the Snare from that's going to be enough for that, especially with the open wounds. But against the Abbadon, it does nothing. You have to either silence him, stun him, or be able to control him, or be able to juke around him. But they don't have any way to be able to juke or kite him. Since he outruns you, there's no 4-stars available yet. Looks like Yoshi is going for one. He's not going to be having it for a while. Gats with the Aphotic Shield, he doesn't give a damn. He knows that if they go on him, Dumbledore will be able to bail him out. This is the biggest advantage of Abbadon. Not only as a support hero, but as a core position hero, is you're forced to deal with them. But because he's got borrowed time, you can't deal with them. He's one of those heroes that's a lose-lose every single time. There's nothing you can do that does well for your team. Actually, looks like he's going for an Assault Cuirass. So no Radiant's going to go for a much more pushing-oriented item. Going for an AC very early on does a huge amount of work, because Ember Spirit, he's not going to be building any armor items. He's got awful agility gain. And so having the extra armor for him means that if he's ever caught out with the Doom and if Snow's smacking on him, having that plus 10 armor from the Vlads and the AC means that he's going to be tanking a lot more hits. Armor does a huge amount of work. You always want to stack armor, not HP against Lifestealer, because he's getting more damage from if you stack HP from Feast. So if you stack armor, Feast is physical damage, you're able to sharply curb his DPS. And if you could outlast his Rage, like any other BKB dependent or a magic immune dependent carry, you're able to kite him or you're able to kill him. And so the Assault Cuirass also provides you a huge amount of offensive capability as well. Since Gats with the Drunken Brawler, he actually hurts like hell, especially since he opted for phase. And Ember Spirit with the Battle Fury, the -5 armor does a huge amount of work. Since Bambi, 0 armor on his own, he's entirely dependent on Gravekeeper's Cloak. And once the Gravekeeper's Cloak charges burn off, especially with the Flame Guard, it'll be able to burn off the instances very quickly. And since the cleave damage is calculated off the armor of the target you're cleaving off, so if you're cleaving off creeps up 2 armor, so -3 armor on that, so you're amplifying the damage that you deal. So it gives you a huge amount of team fighting capability. And it means that you actually can't kill Dumblebee. He's pretty much Dendy at this point. He runs at you, and there's nothing you can do. You just pray that he's not focusing you. Or you pray that he's deciding to play like a pussy, but he's not, because he knows that with the borrowed time, there's nothing they can do to him unless they doom him. But if they doom him, then the Ember Spirit runs all over them. So Horsemen and Ruckus, with what they do best, they're going for the Dumblebee over the Abbadon, which makes it very difficult to deal with. Dumblebee tends to do very poorly when they go for 4 Protect 1 against a Doom, because then Doom just dooms him. And that means they lose the fight. But with Ember Spirit as well, you can't Doom the Abbadon because he's probably actually tanky enough. He might even survive the Doom once the Assault Cuirass comes online. But because you absolutely have to Doom the Ember Spirit. Every single time you don't Doom the Ember Spirit, Half-Life 3 gets delayed because you're losing a fight and Gamon's displeased with you. He's got enough gold now. He's got about 1,000 off his Chrysalis. Metal Man actually is trying to steal his creeps. Jamie, please. So once that Chrysalis comes online, once the Daedalus comes online, with the sheer amount of DPS coming out from the Abbadon as well as the Ember Spirit, Blink, they can't outlast them, because Ember Spirit, he loves long drawn out fights, because so long as he's able to keep spamming out the Slay Fist, as long as he doesn't get called out, he keep juking you, disengaging and re-engaging. It's what makes Ember Spirit so dangerous, is he provides a huge amount of initial Alpha Strike damage like the Conquer and like the Morphling, but at the same time, he also is very powerful at long drawn out engagements. So it's lose-lose up against the Ember Spirit unless you're able to catch him out. If you're able to catch him out with a Silence, with a Stun, or with a Hex, since it's difficult to stun him since he's got 2 disjoints, he can actually disjoint with the Sleight of Fist if he times it perfectly. It's very difficult to deal with him. So that means that the only thing they can do is have Flash blink and doom him. But even if he does blink and doom him, he just runs it. Kingkiller just backs off. Dumblebee says, "Yo, bro, I got this." And he just runs at them and drives them back until the doom wears off, in which case then you re-engage. Actually, very surprised. It doesn't look like they have a mech carrier on their team. So Horsemen and Ruckus opting for no mech. Blink, they've got a mech up on Flash, I believe. Yeah, he's got a mech up on him. And usually the team with the early mech has a significant advantage, but because Blink lost all 3 lanes very decisively, and because they went for a deathball lineup that wasn't able to get enough momentum, there was too much friction coming up from Horsemen and Ruckus. The mech doesn't really account for much. At this point, once Sleight of Fist will out-DPS, the mech becomes useless, or it doesn't become as useful once damage out-DPSs the heal. So they had that early 10-15 minute mech advantage when they could have used it to try to take towers, but they couldn't because they're so far behind. So Horsemen and Ruckus, doing the best thing they can do to deal with the deathball is you shut down their lanes. If they don't get a good laning situation, if their off-laner, Zeki, the one that's going to be initiating these fights, if he gets shut down and gets a very delayed blink dagger, then the deathball falls apart. They're entirely dependent on the off-lane and the mid-lane doing well in case of the tri-lane fails. Because the tri-lane, if you pick someone like a Lycanthrope, it doesn't matter if you lose your lane. So long as the other 2 lanes don't lose, then you can go in. Gats TPing in, he's trying to bait the Doom, and he goes in with the clap as well as the split. Flash, he wanted to Doom. He should have actually, he can't go on Snow, but he can't go on Yoshi. Boltos flies on him. Dumblebee's immediately there. And Yoshi, he's really not enjoying this game. Every single time he gets called out of position like that, or even if he's not called out of position, Dumblebee just forces the issue and runs at him. Unfortunately, they weren't able to deny that tower, so even though everyone rotated, the tower still took a fall. UGTFO looks like he's going for what looks like a Refresher Orb. Refresher Orb, very powerful. No, never mind. He's going for a Pipe of Insight, so Hooded finds up on him. Refresher Orb, good item up on the Titan, but while I say that, Kingkiller kills Zeki in the background. While the Refresher Orb is a very powerful item on the Tidehunter, it turns into a one-trick pony, because it drains. You don't have enough buttons to sustain your other abilities once you use Ravage. And in this case, because he's a 4-position Tidehunter, the Ravage is enough. But if you're playing a 3-position Tidehunter, you usually want to consider going for maybe a Shiva's Guard first, before you go for the Refresher Orb. Because your abilities actually do a huge amount of damage. If you get the Echo Smash over on Flash and over on Snow, they're useless. Flash immediately called up the shoot star for silence. Mystic Flare dropping all over him. The Chain Frost flies. Unfortunately, only hits Method Man. Does kill UTFO as well, but they're more than happy to lose their backline supports. Snow now caught up with a double damage King Killer, and he's just smacking you around. His Wu-Tang style too hot to handle. Stolen Assumption flies over on Gats. He doesn't have to split, but he's got the blink available. Remnants and kills out Yoshi. Flash now caught up with the Staring Chains. Buyback coming here for some, but it's not going to be enough. He's left completely on his own. Zeke is alive now, but King Killer should be able to bring down Bambi. Bambi gets shot through the head. Shotgun shells are bad for your health, says King Killer. He's got here, gets caught out with the last, but Dumblebee, no shield available this time. He's got the Abyss Call to keep him alive for as long as possible. Throws in the Slate of Fist, does so much damage with that Slate. Borrowed time not being used. He's just man-falling up against Snow. King Killer can actually turn around with Zion's ground. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough mana. He's got enough mana for one more Slate. He's thrown that Slate, does so much damage to Snow and Bambi, burning off those grave charge charges. Gats, he actually could be taking a fall. He's backing off. He's got the stick charges as well as the health pot, so he actually should be able to keep himself alive. Salving up, they're going to be taking first to the rack. So Horsemen and Ruckus, fantastically, 14,000 gold lead. They haven't been behind at all this entire game. And this is what I'm talking about. Blink, because their players are so greedy, not in terms of heroes as well, but usually in terms of playstyle, if you put them in the back foot, when they go for these mid-game oriented lineups, they fall apart. And so it looks like we are going for a game number 3, 14,000 gold lead, 14,000 experience lead. Horsemen and Ruckus doing what they do best with the carry Abbadon, as well as King Killer over in the Ember Spirit, able to drag it out to game number 3, so we'll be taking a quick break. We should be right back for the finale to determine which team makes it in to the grand finals on Saturday. So stay tuned for more Dota.